The law of process. Okay, now I'm live everywhere. So share this and let your friends know. Please subscribe. Please let people know about this. I want uh, people to feel comfortable um, learning about this stuff. People who are interested in leadership. I am not a leader. I've never thought of myself as a leader. Let me put it that way. I've always thought of myself as a follower, but and maybe I feel more comfortable following, but it doesn't mean I can't continue the leadership process. I can continue learning to be a leader. And through that, I might become a better leader. The law of the lid is what we looked at in part one of this video series. And this is the book I'm reading from, John C. Maxwell's Laws 21 Irrefutable, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. My name is Patricia Shore, and thank you for joining me on this live. I'm going to talk about tonight the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. Anne Schreiber was 101 years old when she died. For years, she had lived in a tiny, rundown, rent controlled studio apartment in Manhattan. The paint on the walls was peeling, and the old bookcases that lined the walls were covered in dust. Rent was $400 a month. Schreiber lived on Social Security and a small monthly pension, which she started receiving in 1943 when she retired as an auditor for the Internal Revenue Service. She had not done very well at the IRS. More accurately, the agency had not done right by her. Despite having a law degree and doing excellent work, she was never promoted. And when she retired at age 51, she was making only $3,150 a year. Um, sorry. Um, I don't know if that's pollen. I'm in a different pollen part of the country than I was yesterday, or if it's a cold. I don't know. But either way, please excuse me. But the law of the process is what we're looking at today in John C. Maxwell's book. And we're talking about Anne Schreiber, who was making only $3,150 a year in when she retired at, well, she was 51. This is somewhere around 1950. Imagine the surprise of Norman Lamb, president of Yeshiva University in New York City, when he found out that Anne Schreiber, a little old lady whose name he had never heard and who had never attended yeshiva, left nearly her entire estate to that university. When I saw the will, it was mind blowing. Such an unexpected windfall, said Lamb. This woman has become a legend overnight. The estate Anne Schreiber left to Yeshiva University was worth $22 million. And that was a lot back then. It still is. How in the world did a spinster who had been retired for 50 years build an 8-figure fortune? The answer is she did it one day at a time. Wow. And that's the only way we ever do things. But a lot of times, I believe I have sabotaged myself by doing things, trying to speed things up and trying to make things happen instead of allowing things to happen. And allowing things to happen is what is a huge thing in the law of process. It just takes time. It takes time to do stuff. Um, okay, one day at a time. By the time she retired from the IRS in 1943, okay, that's when she retired at age 51, Anne Schreiber had managed to save $5,000. She invested that money in stocks. By 1950, she had made enough profit to buy 1,000 shares of Shearing Plow Corporation stock. then valued at $10,000. Excuse me. Sorry. Uh, then valued at $10,000. We were reading from John C. Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And in fact, we were reading the third law, which is the law of process. Before I sneezed, excuse me, thank you for watching. The law of process is what we're reading about. And this woman who left $22 million, but the most she made in a year was $3,150. And she did this one day at a time. By the time she retired from the IRS in 1943, Ann Scheiber had managed to save $5,000. She invested that money in stocks. By 1950, she had made enough profit to buy 1,000 shares of Shearing Plow Corporation stock, then valued at $10,000, and she held on to that stock, letting its value build. By the time she died, those original shares split enough times to produce 128,000 shares worth $75 million. But it didn't happen overnight. The secret to Scheiber's success was that she spent most of her life building her worth. Whether her stock's values went up or down, she did not sell it off with the thought, I'm finished building, now it's time to cash out. She was in for the long haul, the really long haul. While other older people worried that they may run out of funds before the end of their lives, the longer she lived, the wealthier she became. When it came to finances, Scheiber understood and applied the law of process. So this is an important law. And if you're trying to get better financially, and I am not an expert. I am not giving any kind of advice. I am a certified reseller of Legacy Builders 2.0 program, which I absolutely love. And I want to help other people. I want to mentor people who are interested in this program because there's a lot to learn. And I'm very thankful to be here because of that. And in that, Michelle O'Neill, who is the CEO of Legacy Builders, talked about in a webinar one day, because she does a whole lot of webinars. That's why I don't call it a course, because it's a lot of stuff, including a community of over 50,000 people, and including a bunch of webinars that help you along the way. It's really nice. So, excuse me, but so we're looking at the law of process, and Michelle O'Neill, who is the CEO, mentioned this book, which I highly suggest that you get and read. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I do have permission from the author, John C. Maxwell. His wonderful team gave me permission to read excerpts of this. So I just read the law of process, which is law number 3, or the third law in the book. Becoming a leader is a lot like investing successfully in the stock market. If your hope is to make a fortune in a day, you're not likely to be successful. That's an important thing for us to know. Leaders are learners. In a study of 90 top leaders from a variety of fields, leadership experts Warren Bennis and Bert Nanas, uh, made a discovery about the relationship between growth and leadership. It is the capacity to develop and improve their skills that distinguishes leaders from their followers. Successful leaders are learners, and the learning process is ongoing, a result of self discipline and perseverance. The goal each day must be to get a little better, to build on the previous day's progress. The problem is that most people overestimate the importance of events and underestimate the power of processes. We want quick fixes. We want the compounding effect that Anne Schreiber received over 50 years, but we want it in 50 minutes. And that's true. And he says a lot more about things in the law of process. And I'm not going to read it all, but I will read a title of one section that says, No Overnight Success. And he talks of the story of Roosevelt. I think this is Theodore Roosevelt's, and how he is a man of action, and yet not an overnight success. And few people are. Applying the law of process in your life. If you've seen an earlier video about, I think it was the law of the lid, where they ask you to talk to other people about what kind of a leader you are. And I asked my son what he would rate me on that between 0 and 10. And he said a 4. And I was like, okay, I would rate myself a 3. So these things are helpful to us in getting feedback and helping us to become better leaders, which no matter what you're doing, I mean, I wish I had had this book and been able to really focus on it slightly, even just a little bit every day. It's written so you can read just small chunks of it. And I wish I'd had it, when my kids were little, because I wasn't a very good leader as a homeschooling mom. But this helps, no matter what you're doing, it helps you to become a better leader. Applying the law of process to your life. How will you intentionally grow as a leader? Do you have a plan? If not, write one out. I recommend that you read one book a month. Listen to at least one message or podcast a week, and attend one conference a year. Select the materials in advance, put time for growth on your calendar, and start immediately. If developing a plan from scratch seems difficult, you may want to read my book, Today Matters. That contains the personal growth plan I have used for years. So that is another book of his that you can read. I'm going to have to go now, but because we've got people coming in. And I might go over a couple more later, the law of process. But tonight I have been talking about the law of process. And please follow me, share, subscribe, and like, because I would like for you to become a better leader, just watching the stuff that I'm doing and learning from what I'm learning from. So I hope you have a good evening and a very prosperous and restful evening. Take care.